What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. You guys know we've been working real hard to get caught up on all of the X-Men titles. Today, we're getting caught up on Exceptional X-Men, and I'm really excited about this. Now, if you didn't catch my issue number 1, make sure you guys check that out. This video is going to be covering issues 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is following directly after the events of Krakoa, after the fall, and Kitty Pryde is determined to live a normal life. Headed back to Chicago, leaving her days with the X-Men behind. She now works as a bartender. She shares an apartment with her friend Pri, but trying to stay under the radar really isn't working out for her. That's because of the White Queen, the wonderful, the beautiful Emma Frost herself. And you're gonna want to strap in, because Exceptional X-Men, this leads us directly to the return of Mr. Sinister. So make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we start this off, we pick up in Chicago. We pick up with Kitty Pryde, a woman trying to leave her Shadowcat days behind her, trying to live the normal life, simply bartending, going out on dates, trying to get rid of any memory, any remnants of the life that she once had. And today she's about to head out on a date. A woman named Nina had invited her out, invited her to her cousin's soccer game, with Kitty Pryde thinking that this is pretty wholesome, seems like what normal people might actually do, so let's go do this. This is what takes us to the high school. The two of them sit, they share nachos, they watch the game unfold. While they sit here and do this, we do see that Emma Frost is tapping into her mind. The truth is, Emma Frost is bored as hell. She has nothing better to do with her time, so she's kind of eavesdropping on everybody to see what they're up to. In these bleachers, there sits a mutant boy, sitting here watching his friend play soccer, or at least hoping that she's gonna play soccer because she's sitting on the bench. But some nearby kids, they come by and they start trying to stir up some trouble. Just very anti-mutant BS that you typically would hear. And while the leader of these three kids really starts going off on the mutant kid, he's trying to ignore them, but then we see this kid turn blue. And the guy that's yelling at him, his tone changes up, saying that mutants make him so upset and he doesn't even know why. That this is a soccer game, he shouldn't be yelling like this, but this is how his dad handles everything. Now the kid has no idea what the heck is going on with him, but we're gonna learn exactly what just happened. This blue mutant has a very unique power. And so while these kids back off because the leader of the three really is shut down relatively quickly, one of the other soccer players on the team, they see this and she throws up the Midnight M, but he has no idea what the hell she is doing. So he's thinking to himself like, Jesus, like you just try to have a normal day at a soccer game. I got random girl throwing gang signs at me, and then I got these dudes trying to start a fight with me, throwing hot chips at my head. Now this girl, she immediately assumes like, I gotta help him, he obviously needs help. Even if he's not throwing up the Midnight M, I feel like I have to do something. And so she charges into the bleachers. She gets in these dudes' faces. And as things start to heat up, we see that this girl is a mutant, and her power is to become intangible. A power that closely resembles Kitty Pryde. While this fight is going on, Kitty Pryde sees all of this happening. Seeing the situation is highly escalating, Kitty Pryde touches both of them, and they phase down below the bleachers. Kitty Pryde letting them know that they should be safe as long as they don't bring any attention to themselves. But this mutant girl, she's livid, saying that we were handling that situation and nobody asked you to come in and intervene. Of course, Kitty Pryde definitely sees this differently. They made an entire scene. Nobody was at risk, nobody was in danger. You escalated a situation and you were only doing more harm than good. In her fit of anger, she goes to storm off. But as she goes to storm off, she phases through a pole and she gets stuck. Kitty Pryde coming over to her and really calming the situation down, letting her know that you're gonna be fine. To focus on your body, start with your head and work your way down. Kitty Pryde is very familiar with this. She had to deal with this in her formative years. That's where Kitty takes off. She goes and tells her date that they need a rain check. Her date's gotta take off anyway. The whole situation just went crazy. As Kitty Pryde takes off, that young girl Thao, Got her number from Grace. Really just wanted to say thank you and apologizing for getting so heated in that situation. A few days later, we pick up with the 3 kids. These teenagers, they're really looking for direction. They've been reading about mutants that are building political coalitions. They want to organize. So they formulate a plan, and this is what picks us up at Kitty Pryde's apartment. The 3 kids sitting at the front door, and Kitty saying, absolutely not. Trying to tell him to go home, trying to tell him to get out of here. But when the knocking and the banging immediately stops, she goes to the door to see what's going on, and what she sees is the White Queen. Emma Frost has shown up, taking the 3 children under her control. This is what takes us into issue number 3. Kitty Pryde tells her to let those kids go, and trying to figure out why the hell are you here? What are you doing? Now, Emma, being her normal self, tells her that she's here to give her renovation advice for the humble dwelling that she finds herself in. But getting to the real point, she says life's been dull, mutants scattered to the 4 winds, but most of them are falling right back into the old patterns that they used to do. It's tiresome, it's boring. But then she saw that Kitty Pryde was getting involved with some mutant children, some mutants at risk, if you will. This is when Kitty Pryde recognizes that the blackouts she's been having are because of Emma. So while Emma tries to take these kids, tries to walk out, Kitty Pryde's not having it. Kitty is the first to attack. She goes in on Emma, and while Emma tries to use her powers on Kitty, it's not working. She can't get into her head, so Emma has to either fight her for real or leave these kids alone and get out of here. And when Kitty gets her into a headlock and Emma turns into her diamond form, this is when Kitty's roommate comes in and is just like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, what the hell are you guys doing? Why are you guys fighting in the middle of the afternoon, in the middle of the hallway, and destroying everything? Also, why the hell does this lady dress like this? Like, is this something you do every day? Are you walking around the city just dressed to the nines all day long? It's a lot to walk in on. But we finally get everybody inside. They sit down and they start talking. Emma believes that the children need some kind of structure. They need mentorship. Now, the kids at first, they're like, didn't you just try to mind control us? But the thing is, the kids don't really know who they are. Like, they've heard some of the names on the news and things of that nature. She goes on to say that I'm Emma Frost. I'm the White Queen, past headmistress of multiple esteemed institutions for preparation of talented young mutants, global entrepreneur, principal figure in the Hellfire Club, the X-Men, Frost International, and the Krakoan Quiet Council. This is when Alex, the kid with the green skin, he's like, you were just throwing hands with this lady, Kitty. Now you're having a tea party. Like, can we trust her? What the hell's going on? And Kitty's like, yes, you can trust her. It's all really complicated. The truth is, Emma Frost kinda needs this. She wants to train these kids up. She's been scouting locations for a training facility, and Kitty Pryde wants nothing to do with this. She doesn't want to whisk any kids away to some place that's out in the boonies and make these kids social pariahs. She doesn't want to repeat the same mistakes that Charles Xavier did, but she cannot deny that these kids do need guidance. They need some kind of help, and if someone is going to help them, why not be Kitty Pryde? This is what takes us to a few days later, a studio where they have the opportunity to begin their training, and everyone goes around and does their little introductions. We already know who Trista is, aka Bronze, turning her skin into metal, and makes her super strong, and her hair becomes almost like a whiplash. Now, Alex's power is rather unique. His ability is that people, when they come up to him, they confess their biggest secrets and vulnerabilities. And then we already know what Thao can do. Kind of like Kitty Pryde, she can go invisible, she can pass through stuff, all that good stuff. While they all sit here, they go around the circle, they talk about who they are, what they want, what their goals in all of this are gonna be. They talk about doing little code names. And Bronze has been sketching in her book, she's already come up with it. Thao going to be melee, Trista obviously being bronze, and Alex being Axo. Looking at this, the other two absolutely love it. Now, Kitty Pryde jumps into this and she tries to let them know, like, you guys don't have to be heroes. Like, the idea of being a hero, it's great. The costumes are really fun, but you guys also need to survive. You need enough combat to protect yourself. You don't need the code names. You don't need missions and costumes. Of course, this is when Emma Frost shows up with costumes. Emma Frost believes that this is almost necessary, that it will encourage them to take themselves seriously. It is a uniform, and so they sit here and they train. They go over all the possibilities of what they can do, how they can do it, trying to really control and harness their powers. But while they do this, they are randomly attacked, surrounded by some kind of demonic monsters. Our mutants start fighting. They start lashing out. They start attacking as best they can, but they are unorganized. They are unprepared. They are untrained. While they fight, Alex senses it. He tells everybody to stop. He tells everybody to close your eyes. That what is happening is not real. Something doesn't feel right. Something feels like it's fake. Like Emma Frost is doing all of this. This is when the monsters disappear and it was all an illusion from Emma. Obviously, Kitty Pryde livid. But Emma says that you were around the same age. Actually, they're older than when Charles Xavier threw you into the danger room. Tell her that, like, if you want to be a recluse, do it. You want to disavow the X-Men? Fine. You can do that, Kitty. But they both know it's a vicious world out there. They are always going to be coming for us. They don't get to choose the time or place. While they have this argument, we have the arrival of Bobby, aka Iceman. This is what hops us into issue number 4. We pick up with Bronze in the Danger Room simulation, fighting against a Sentinel, trying to learn the weak spots, trying to learn her abilities, trying to see what she is truly capable of. Now, no one really expects these kids to be on top of their game, more or less failing the simulation. We see it all fade away, and they are in that studio. Emma Frost and Bobby sitting here, and Bobby telling her that wasn't half bad. He would give her a C+ on that, and gives you room to grow, gives you an opportunity to get better. As we pick up with Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde is sitting at her house and Bobby's here. Roommate let him in, they're cooking food, he's getting all cozy with them, all that good stuff, but Kitty's really telling him that I need you to go home. I'm not asking you, you're being pushy, you're really inserting yourself into my life, go away. Now, we don't really understand why or what's going on, but what we do know is that Bobby is texting somebody in secret, encrypted. This is what takes us to later on that day. As Kitty Pryde heads down and she goes to look around for some equipment down in the lower areas, what she runs into is Bobby on the phone. He's talking about Kitty Pryde, saying that there is an opportunity, that Kitty Pryde is off her game. This is when she comes up from behind Bobby, lets him know that her fist is against his heart, that there's a knife in her hand. She wants to know what the hell is going on, and she wants to know right now. Taking the phone and hearing who is on the other end. It was Rogue. Rogue tried talking to her, but Kitty, she drops the phone and she runs out of the room. Bobby goes and chases her down. He apologizes for sneaking around, but they wanted somebody to go in and check on her. She ghosted everybody. After she took out so many Orcus agents, after she became Shadowcat, after what Orcus made her become, she ghosted everybody. She disappeared off the face of the earth. And we can tell that Kitty, she's not forgiving herself. She knows what she had to do, but it doesn't change the fact that she killed a bunch of people. While her and Bobby have this argument, she goes in to talk with the kids, and we see that Alex's powers seem to have rubbed off on her. So where she comes out and she confesses that she killed people, and the kids hear this. This is what takes us into issue number 5. We know what Kitty Pryde had to do. We know the woman that she had to become. But these kids, they're young, they're naive. They don't understand anything of the worlds that these guys had to grow up in, the path that they had to lay, the ground that they had to pound for these mutants not to have to understand the struggles they went through. But now they're really questioning everything. If you've killed people, who are you? How can we trust you? Why would we even listen to you? Without quitting, we see everybody kind of go their own ways and try to figure out what all of this means. That's when Emma and Kitty sit down. They have a discussion about everything that's currently unfolding, and Kitty lets her know, like, you could bail too. All the kids left, you could leave too, and Emma's not gonna do that. It would make it way too easy for her. But Emma does say that you should have been honest with them from the beginning about what this is, about who you are, and what it means to be an X-Men. But she wanted to give them the choice, a luxury that they never had. She didn't want them fighting in someone else's war. And while Emma tries to bring up Krakoa, Kitty says that Krakoa has nothing to do with them, but Emma sees it differently. Krakoa has everything to do with them. Taking us later, after all the teenagers have really, had time to step to the side to think about it, some spending time with their family, we see Thal return. She comes back to the gym. Kitty Pryde goes on to let her know that when I was your age, I really thought I was making all the right decisions as well. But now that I look back, I'm not sure if those were all the right decisions. She knows that Thal has a strong moral compass. She used to think that being an X-Men meant that that compass was always pointed true north. Now she thinks a little bit differently. While they sit here and do this, they discuss an app that is currently out. One that's been collecting DNA. Kids seem to be really obsessed with this, and it's gonna have some huge ramifications as things move forward. This is what takes us to issue number 6. We pick up with our kids training, Bobby going head to head with them, Malay, Alex, and Bronze all doing what they can to hold off his attacks. And once training is done, they sit here and talk about how the teenagers don't really want to be dependent upon Emma Frost. She's definitely got the money, the resources, all of that stuff, but they don't want to feel like someone's paying for everything for them. And so they want to go out and they want to try to get jobs. They're really just setting down some boundaries to have some kind of sense of independence. While they sit here and all discuss what job possibilities that they could do, this is when her roommate comes in and says that her company is looking for some interns. No experience needed, hiring immediately at the consulting firm. Hopping over a few weeks later, that's exactly where we pick up. Pri is bringing these kids in here, showing them around, showing them the office, everything that they do, so on and so forth. Today, they're sitting down with an app, one known as Vorite. They're looking for a fresh perspective from some young minds. This is where we are introduced to Sheldon Xenos, founder of the company, and really looking for some information on what might help him out. As they start to figure out what this guy does and what his app actually is, what they are seeing is that they are having people send in their DNA. Now, the kids see this more as prying on people's insecurities to collect their most personal information. They want to target more kids. This is when Pri urges the other two out of the room, but only leaves behind Alex. Alex sits here and has a conversation with him, and Alex is expecting this guy to just spill his guts. Whatever secret he's hiding, whatever he's lying about, but it never comes. He goes on to say that he was interested in genes very early in life, something that Alex could probably relate to. They both show their mutation on the outside. Alex relates to this guy, and showing that this guy, he really has no ulterior motive, at least that's what it appears. Alex is rather smitten. We pick up with Alex the next day. Now, Alex wanted to meet up with Xenos again. He wanted to sit down, have a conversation, talk about these genes, talk about all of this. He wants to understand himself better. So the two of them, they grab some coffee and they walk through the park. And as they walk through the park, a woman asks them if they have the time. But a guy comes up from behind them. He has a gun and he says, "Give me your wallet, give me your phones." Alex wastes no time. He punches the dude in the face. The woman attacks attacks him and he is able to stop her as well. With his mutant ability, both of his attackers begin to cry. The woman and the man are lovers. They've been out here doing this, robbing people left and right. But the truth is, she's never wanted to do it. She has been wanting to stop and he has continued to make her do it. But his mutant ability seems to expose this, and they want to go in different directions. They want to change what they're doing. This is what takes us back to the dojo. Takes us back to that studio. The teenagers coming in, and they really want Emma and Kitty to weigh in on this debate that they've been having. A private company having people send in DNA samples promising to improve them. Is this bad or terrible, or is this good? Alex's defense of it is a guy inspired by his personal experience to research real ideas, like inherited diseases and all of those things, how genes interact with the environment. They say that he's hitting on all the talking points that Sheldon was doing. They go on to explain that Sheldon Zeno, that's the guy that has this company and the one that is really behind all of this. Now, Kitty's the first one to say that she's happy Alex likes his work, but a private company collecting people's data, collecting their DNA, this is a bad thing for everybody. And for mutants, it's really, really bad, especially if they're gonna build a registry. Alex, he says that, but this guy's a mutant as well. He's one that can't hide it. And Kitty tries to let him know that he may be a mutant, but not all mutants have your well-being in mind. Alex tells her that, has it ever occurred that you were hanging around the bad guys, doing bad things? Maybe some people are out there just wanting to help somebody. Maybe he just has good intentions. This is where we see Sheldon Zenos, his assistant, coming in and saying that the individuals mentioned are in the lobby. He tells her to pay them, take care of them, and sign off on it. Those people in the lobby were the same people that attempted to rob him in the park. Poor, young, naive Alex. Sheldon Zenos is yet another monster in the world trying to take advantage. A lesson that Alex is soon gonna learn. This is what takes us over to issue number 7. As Emma Frost, Kitty Pryde are training our young teens. They sit here, they do the typical in and outs, practicing using their powers, controlling their powers, seeing the full extent of what they might be capable of. Everyone cannot help but notice there is one missing from their ranks. Where is Alex? And Alex has been getting close with Sheldon, spending all his time there, discussing everything. So when he shows up to the studio late as hell, everyone is a little bit ticked off. They're a little bit pissed off, and it's just simply because they were worried about him. He tries to make an excuse on why he's late, but it's very obvious it's a lie. Then he gets really defensive very quickly. But before they can handle this situation, Bobby comes running in. He says it's urgent because Professor Xavier has escaped from prison. If you haven't checked out that story, I have a video covering the entirety of X-Man Hunt. While they discuss this, the kids are like, who the hell is Xavier? Which is so crazy to think about. That there's a young generation of mutants out there that don't know who the professor is. And we can't expect these kids to have been intertwined with the politics of mutant kind. You know, they were probably 14 years old. Some of them might not even have become mutants at the time that Krakoa was founded. So it's fair that they might not actually know. They might have seen a headline with, you know, Professor X, but it doesn't necessarily mean they know who the guy is. But they do know about Krakoa. And while it is all important history, Thao goes on to say for them, that's not all that being a mutant is about. The things that happened to them with Krakoa. And Emma stops her right there in her tracks. She lets her know, like, no, that happened to you as well. They also took your home away. Even if you never went there, even if you have never stepped foot on Krakoa, they took away something from you you never got to experience. This is what picks us up with Sheldon and Alex. Sheldon is showing him the whole facility, the entire database, the core of the building itself, telling him that DNA is only part of the story. His company holds the emotional signatures of countless lives, their desires, their aspirations. It's the closest that you can get to capturing the human soul. Now, Alex seeing all of this is where he's like, you know what, I think I gotta get out of here. I think I'm getting a phone call. But Sheldon says that's impossible. This is a dead zone. And then Alex tries making more excuses, but he realizes it's already too late. It's already too late, and whoever Sheldon is, he's been tricked. He's he's been played at. Sheldon goes on to say that we need you for your gift. It is crucial to the next steps of his project. And while you're trying to use them on me right now, sadly, the parts of him that have been responding to an empathetic probe, those are long gone. He doesn't emote. This is where he reveals himself to be Mr. Sinister. Sinister has returned. And this takes us to our most recent issue number 8. Mr. Sinister is back, having Alex now tied up and experimenting on him. When he came to understand the mutant's ability, he was quite intrigued. He was able to repel its effects in his company. He knew he couldn't go spilling his guts. He really thought that there would be more to the mutant power than this, but nonetheless it helps him with his overall goals. He's also hoping to be able to sniff out any of these adult onset mutants that he's been hearing about. It makes him almost shiver with excitement to understand it. And Alex is going to help make all of this possible. Now back with his friends, there seems to be a replacement Alex. A yellow Alex. He doesn't seem to be himself. He's acting differently. He's acting weird. Not really understanding what's going on with him. Bronze takes Thao aside, takes her to the girl's bathroom, is like, yo, what the hell's going on with Alex? Like, that's not Alex. He's listening to different music. He's acting completely out of character. Something is going on here. They tried calling Kitty Pryde, but they are unsuccessful in getting through. While they're panicking, trying to figure out what the hell is going on, we pick back up with Sinister. He realized that each occurrence of the Krakoan regeneration process left really minute remnants of genetic material. The Big Bang left behind the cosmic microwave background. A steady stream down a rock face leaves a mineral wake. There is nothing in nature that he has come to realize that is exempt from the vanity of a signature. These traces, they were imperceivable to any who didn't search for them. Infinitesimal, down to the level of the individual amino acids. But this is when he gets a beeping. We pick back up with Alex, or what we believe to be Alex. When Thao and Bronze go to confront him, what we see is that Alex completely melts away, turns into nothing but a pile of goo, and that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Definitely one hell of a fun series so far. I really enjoy this because what we're seeing is that in the aftermath, Emma's bored. I would say she's less bored and she's really trying to find a purpose again. Kitty Pryde, the same thing. And they find themselves following the path of Charles Xavier unknowingly. The kids kind of just fell into their lap. Kids needing guidance, needing help, feeling out of place in the world, feeling like they don't belong. And both Emma and Kitty can relate to this so closely. The truth is, the next generation of mutants, they need guidance. With no school anymore, these kids need help. They need somewhere to go, somewhere to turn to. They may hate Charles Xavier for the monster that he became, but the foundation that he left behind is instrumental for the future of mutant kind. And while they may struggle with the monster that they had to become in the Krakoan era, I for one am so excited for the second Krakoan age. I don't know when it's gonna happen. I feel like it's gonna happen in the next couple of years. Like, I think give it 2 years and we'll probably see the next Krakoan age. Don't quote me on it though. But I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it. And now we have the return of Mr. Sinister. Like Emma Frost said, most of the villains, most of the X-Men, they went back to the same antics that they have always done. And that is no different for Sinister. Right back into the genetics. Right back into doing what he wants, how he wants to do it. It is crazy to see him go back to doing stuff like this when he was literally on the verge, on the precipice of godhood. It's like, damn, bro, how is still that not your goal? Like, you were so close to becoming a god, there's gotta be a way to get back there, right? Maybe that's the path he's trying to do now. Either way, I'm happy to see Sinister back in the loop, back doing what Sinister does best. We have some new mutants around. We have Emma Frost and Kitty Pryde really stepping up, being the next generation of leaders for these young mutants that are coming up. We are really seeing the torch being passed. What the future holds for mutant kind has never shined brighter. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on all of the X titles, go ahead, check the link out in my description as well as the top of this video. It's gonna get you completely caught up on everything that has been going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, you are getting tons of perks and helping out the channel tremendously. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.